China's fighting back against Trump, retaliating against his tariffs, slapping their own on some American goods.
Dealing with Pete, I'm dealing with these gentlemen on numerous different airplane purchases, and I think they're all going to be great.
And the ones that are planned for April 2nd.
No.
You are not going to change your mind?
No, look, we've been ripped off for years, and we're not going to be ripped off anymore. No, I'm not going to bend at all.
The trading between the U.S. and China is only getting worse. Tensions are rising, and the economic impact is about to hit hard. The consequences of these actions have reached businesses, consumers, and even political landscapes. The U.S. has imposed tariffs on Chinese goods, and in return, China has responded with its own set of tariffs, hitting key American industries hard. So, what does this mean for the future of the U.S. economy? Watch till the end to find out. One of the biggest blows has been to the American automotive sector. China, the world's largest car market, has placed a 25% tariff on American cars. This move has made it extremely difficult for U.S. automakers like Tesla, Ford, and GM to maintain their foothold in China. With rising costs, these companies face two options: reduce their profits or lose their market share in China. On the other hand, Chinese automakers like BYD, NIO, and XPeng are growing rapidly, benefiting from government support and technological advancements. These companies produce high-performance electric vehicles at lower costs, making it harder for American brands to compete. The agricultural sector has also taken a significant hit. China, once a major buyer of American soybeans, slashed its imports from 36 million tons in 2018 to just 16 million tons by 2020. The sharp decline resulted in billions of dollars in losses for American farmers. Other agricultural products like pork and corn have also suffered as China has turned to alternative suppliers from South America and other regions. The impact of the trade war goes beyond just cars and agriculture. It has contributed to rising prices in the U.S. By 2021, the cost of producing consumer goods in the U.S. had risen by 7% compared to the previous year. Many household items, including smartphones and electronic components, saw price hikes between 15% and 20%. With wages remaining stagnant, American consumers are feeling the pressure. China is not only dominating the automotive sector, but also making major strides in electric vehicles and green technology. Government investments in research and development, along with subsidies, have given Chinese companies a major advantage over American competitors. This has helped China take the lead in battery technology and renewable energy, further strengthening its position in the global market. The trade war has also led to shifts in international trade relationships. Countries in Europe, Africa, and Latin America are increasing their cooperation with China, seeking economic opportunities that the U.S. might be losing. As a result, America's influence on global trade is declining. To stay competitive, American companies must find ways to innovate, reduce production costs, and invest in future industries like automation and clean energy. While the economic battle between China and the U.S. continues, another figure has found himself at the center of controversy: Elon Musk. Once celebrated for his achievements in technology and innovation, Musk has increasingly become a political figure, drawing both support and criticism. His role in shaping public opinion, especially through Twitter, has made him a target of satire, protest, and media scrutiny. Protests have erupted at Tesla showrooms across the U.S. Many believe that when a billionaire influences public policy, he should be held accountable, just like a politician. In response, Musk supporters argue that he is being unfairly targeted. This divide shows a larger issue: the increasing sensitivity to political satire. Shows like Saturday Night Live have frequently mocked Musk and other public figures, but some of his supporters claim the criticism has gone too far. Beyond public perception, Musk has also faced financial consequences. In 2022 alone, he lost over $100 billion, largely due to the decline in Tesla stock following controversial public statements. Investors started pulling out, corporate partners distanced themselves, and the market sent a clear message even non-political figures must answer to public scrutiny. Meanwhile, political tensions in the U.S. are growing. A White House press conference recently sparked controversy after claims surfaced that President Biden's use of an auto pen for citing pardons might make them invalid. However, the use of an auto pin has been a common practice for years and has never legally nullified a document. The fact that this argument's being raised now suggests that it may be more about political strategy than actual legality. Another issue stirring debate is the administration's approach to deportations. Venezuelan immigrants have been deported under claims that they are gang members, but critics argue that these actions lack due process. There has been no clear evidence proving that those deported are actually criminals, raising concerns about wrongful deportations. At the same time, a strange diplomatic spat has occurred between the U.S. and France, when a French politician criticized the U.S. for not upholding the values of the Statue of Liberty. An American official responded with, "It's only because of the United States that the French aren't speaking German right now." This kind of response raises questions about America's approach to international diplomacy. In another move that shocked many, President Donald Trump appointed himself as chairman of the Kennedy Center, replacing the entire board with his own loyalists. This decision led to major donors pulling out, staff resignations, and the cancellation of several artistic programs. Critics argue that this is not about restoring American culture, but rather about turning the arts into a political tool. Adding to the contradictions within the administration, Alina Habba recently made a strong statement about fighting human trafficking. But not long ago, she appeared in a video praising Andrew Tate, a man accused of human trafficking. This raises serious questions about the administration's credibility when it comes to this issue. Amid all these political and economic tensions, the defense industry is also seeing major shifts. Canada is reconsidering its $13 billion deal to buy American-made F-35 fighter jets. The country has begun looking at European alternatives, signaling growing dissatisfaction with U.S. trade policies. The initial deal, signed in 2023, was meant to modernize Canada's Air Force, but rising trade tensions have made Canada rethink its reliance on the U.S. One of the major concerns is Canada's involvement with the F-35 fighter jet program. The F-35 is primarily produced in the U.S., and Washington has repeatedly emphasized the importance of defense cooperation. However, Canada has been reconsidering its commitment to the program due to increasing U.S. trade restrictions. If Canada decides to step away from the deal, it could damage the special relationship between the two nations. This decision could also impact industries beyond defense, such as agriculture, steel, and technology. U.S. tariffs have caused significant problems for Canadian businesses, especially in steel, aluminum, and agricultural products. Ontario and Quebec, which rely heavily on steel and aluminum exports to the U.S., have been hit hard by these policies. Farmers have also suffered from tariffs on milk, beef, and other agricultural goods, leading to financial losses and economic uncertainty. Many Canadians believe that if the U.S. continues to impose unfair trade policies, it is necessary to explore alternative trade partners, especially in Europe and Asia. The stock market has also been affected by U.S. policies. In one shocking moment, over $4 trillion vanished from the market, not due to war or financial collapse, but because of a statement from Donald Trump. His unexpected announcement about Greenland sent Wall Street into panic mode. Trump claimed that the U.S. had a strong military presence in Greenland and might send more troops, raising fears of conflict in the Arctic. The Dow Jones fell by 540 points, and the S&P 500 approached correction territory. Investors worried that the U.S. might be heading toward an unnecessary military buildup while already struggling with inflation and supply chain disruptions. Trump also revived his 2019 idea of purchasing Greenland, which Denmark had firmly rejected. This time he went even further by suggesting that Canada would function better as an American state. These statements created serious diplomatic tensions, with NATO leaders rejecting the idea outright. A survey showed that 85% of Greenland's population opposed any attempt to become part of the U.S. Trump's unpredictable policies led to another financial collapse, with the Dow Jones dropping over 900 points in just one day. Companies like Apple, Nvidia, and JP Morgan saw massive losses, and financial experts warned that if this trend continued, the U.S. could enter a recession by late 2025. At the same time, Trump introduced a 25% tariff on steel, aluminum, and car imports from Europe, causing major concerns for Sweden. Sweden depends on exports for 45% of its GDP, and the automotive industry is directly impacted. Volvo, one of Sweden's largest car manufacturers, exports over 100,000 vehicles annually to the U.S., but with the new tariffs, prices could rise by $8,000 per car. Other major Swedish manufacturers like Scania and SKF could see production costs increase by up to 18%. The U.S. is Sweden's third largest export market, accounting for $17.8 billion in trade annually. Thousands of jobs are at risk if companies cut operations. In response, the European Commission announced plans for retaliation, including tariffs on American agricultural goods, tech companies, and luxury products like whiskey and tobacco. Sweden's also looking at alternative markets, expanding trade with China and the Middle East to reduce reliance on the U.S. However, there are two possible strategies. Sweden could stand with the EU to present a united front, or negotiate a separate deal with the U.S. to safeguard its trade interests. A survey found that 63% of Swedish businesses prefer to keep exporting to the U.S. despite tariffs, while 30% are looking for alternative markets. Canada is also considering a major move in response to U.S. trade restrictions, cutting its electricity and oil exports. The U.S. imports nearly 40 terawatt-hours of electricity from Canada annually, with states like New York, Michigan, and Minnesota relying heavily on this supply. If Canada limits exports, the U.S. power grid could face shortages, leading to higher electricity prices and blackouts. The U.S. also imports 4 million barrels of oil per day from Canada, which accounts for 67% of total U.S. oil imports. If Canada reduces oil exports, the U.S. energy market could suffer serious consequences. Many American refineries are designed specifically for processing Canada's heavier crude oil, meaning switching to other suppliers like Venezuela or the Middle East would not be a quick fix. Additionally, increasing U.S. oil production would require time and investment. Canada has been expanding its energy exports to Asia, particularly China and Japan, reducing its dependence on the U.S. If Canada fully redirects its oil exports, the U.S. may struggle to find replacements. Some argue that Canada should limit exports to put pressure on Washington to reverse its tariff policies. However, energy trade between Canada and the U.S. is deeply integrated, making this decision extremely complicated. Cutting oil and electricity exports could cause disruptions on both sides, potentially forcing both countries back to negotiations. Another issue affecting the Canada-U.S. relationship is the debate over the Keystone XL pipeline. Keystone XL was designed to transport oil from Alberta to Texas with a capacity of 830,000 barrels per day. Initially approved by Trump in 2017, the project was later canceled by President Biden in 2021. Now, don't hesitate to comment down your thoughts on this. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more future updates.